Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing something a little different. I wanted to show you one of my new favorite recipes, and I'm currently cooking it, so I thought I'd just take you along with me and show you what I do to make this super easy and super delicious recipe. So I'll show you what I'm working with as of right now. I've got my ground beef cooking here, and this is just Guardian, I don't know, but it's this beefless ground beef, which I have found tastes very, very similar to regular ground beef. So this is my new favorite beef substitute. And I just cooked it in there with some minced garlic. But next, I'm going to be adding my pasta sauce. And I'm just using this Target brand mushroom and green pepper pasta sauce. And also 1 can of diced tomatoes, just because I want a little bit saucier. I'm also going to turn down the heat a little bit. Much better. If you don't add the diced tomatoes, it makes more of a gravy, and it's a lot thicker. But I want my sauce to be a little bit saucier, so I'm going to do that. And for the noodle portion today, I'm going to be using spaghetti squash. Now, usually I use whole wheat spaghetti, but I was at the grocery store and I saw this beautiful spaghetti squash and I just had to get it. And I've never cooked with spaghetti squash before, so this is something new for me. There's a nice little sticker though that came on the spaghetti squash that gave really in-depth instructions on how to cook it. So, apparently this one is from Mississippi. I think. Yes. I didn't know Mississippi grew spaghetti squash, but you learn something new every day. So I already cooked this for about 45 minutes, but the directions say to turn the squash over and cover with foil again and continue to cook another 15 minutes until squash is very tender. Now, if you're not too familiar with spaghetti squash, ultimately it turns into spaghetti after you bake it. So you get it nice and tender, and then you can scrape out the insides, and they make a noodle shape, which I think is very fascinating for a vegetable. But after you roast it, it just turns so fibrous, you know? I do have a lot going on right now in the kitchen while trying to record this, so I hope I'm not too noisy with my aluminum foil or anything. I'm just attempting to turn this gigantic squash over. Now, the hardest part was cutting the squash in half. I'm not sure if maybe it wasn't very ripe or something, but when I tried to cut it, it was very difficult, so I needed some elbow grease to cut that bad boy open. So, I turned over my spaghetti squash. It's still very hot. You can already see that it's starting to turn a little bit fibrous here. And at first when I cut it open, I thought it was a pumpkin. I was like, man, did I really get a spaghetti squash? Because it looked so much like a pumpkin. So, one of my favorite recipes to make is pastas, just because I think they're so easy to make. And this thing I'm making right now is not just one portion, obviously. I am going to take the rest of it to work with me, so I can get some dinner tonight while I'm working. Last night was very busy. the other server decided to take her meal break right at 7, which is our dinner rush, so I was on the floor by myself and I didn't have much time to eat. Oh my god, I'm so sorry, my oven is so loud. Eee. But I just had brown rice and cauliflower for dinner yesterday. I'm gonna show you me putting my pan in the oven. So, ooh, this is heavy. Arm day. There we go. Perfect. And this is gonna be loud. Oh, it wasn't loud, okay. I guess it's only loud when I open it. It's strange. Okay, so I'm gonna cook it for another 15 minutes. Now, let's add our veggies because I love veggies. Huge fan of veggies. If you guys couldn't tell, I am vegan. I have been vegan for, I want to say 6 months now. Maybe a little less than that, but it's given me enough time where I am more comfortable in the kitchen when it comes to that lifestyle. And I feel like I have a better handle on what I'm doing. But this recipe I just discovered recently because the base for the tomato sauce without the ground beef is something I make quite often. So I just added this ground beef that I got from Walmart and it changed the game. It changed everything. It makes it taste so much better now. But I'm going to be adding some, oopsie, let's put that away, some fresh spinach. So take a good amount here, one-handed, oh yes. Well, do people usually grab spinach with 2 hands? I don't think so. So, just gonna, also I'm in my PJs because I'm relaxing before I have to get ready for work, so. And if you know anything about cooking spinach, it seems like a lot, but once it all cooks down, it's barely anything. So, I'll probably add more once it cooks down a little bit more, but I just like sneaking spinach in a lot of my meals so I can get in some extra greens. And then some mushrooms. I am a huge fan of mushroom pasta sauces for some reason. I think they're super tasty. So I think adding mushrooms to a pasta sauce just makes it 10 times better. But I am also a huge fan of mushrooms, so. Maybe that's just me. I like adding them to stir fries, pastas. Whenever I make my garbage skillets, as I call them, I add mushrooms. These are actually big chunks because I'm doing this one-handed. But I don't really cut up the mushrooms. I just kind of break them up and throw them in here. It's quite tasty. I recommend it. If you don't like mushrooms, I'm so sorry. I think they're so yummy. And I will be adding seasoning in a minute. Oh, I dropped one. That's okay. Yummy. Look how good that looks. Looks exquisite. I love all the color. Okay. Seasoning. Let's open up the wonderful seasoning cabinet in my house. First of all, since this is a pasta, I'm going to add some Italian seasoning. This is just like, what is it? Basil, rosemary, thyme, oregano, savory and sage. I didn't know savory was a spice. See how uneducated I am in the kitchen? Some onion powder. I like onion powder. I like going for seasonings that don't have added sodium in them, just because I'm trying to not get that much sodium. Some garlic, just because I love garlic. And once again, as with all recipes in the kitchen, adapt it to your own tastes, your own goals in life, your own needs. It's not a one-size-fits-all sort of thing, so some people might hate this recipe with the vegetables and mushrooms in it, but you can always take them out. I think this actually looks pretty good. So, alright. Lastly, I am just going to wait for my spaghetti squash to get done cooking, but that is basically how I make my wonderful pasta. I will show you the noodles I normally use just because spaghetti squash is kind of a pain in the butt to cook, to be honest. Sometimes I don't have, an hour to bake a spaghetti squash, so normally I like to use, well, it's backwards, but I like using this Walmart brand of whole wheat spaghetti. It's just high in fiber, and sometimes if I'm getting really creative, I might just use brown rice or quinoa and put my spaghetti sauce over it, because who says spaghetti sauce has to go on spaghetti? More like, it's more a marinara, but you can put it on whatever you want, so. But I hope you guys enjoyed joining me in the kitchen, and I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye.